the one, the only, Bencio.
Good morning and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube Table Enabled to continue Shulchan Aruch Yomi Siman Reishai and Dalet 274 4 halachas Dinei B'tzias Hapas breaking bread on Shabbos. The chiyuv to have lechem mishnah aleph potzea al shtei kikaros shleimos. Supposed to have 2 loaves of bread. Ideally, they're supposed to be shalim. Shleimos is in parentheses. Sha'oche shtein biyado. You hold both of them in your hand. Now, probably in 2 hands. Most people can't hold 2 chalas in one hand. It's a little bigger. And you open up, you cut first from the bottom one. Haga, the Ramah said, Shabbos. You only do that on Friday night. You cut from the top one. This is based on Kabbalah. Now the Taz asks a famous question over here. Why on Friday night is it a problem? Not a problem. Mavirin ala mitzvos. Therefore the Taz says that on Friday night, even though you want to cut from the bottom one, he would hold the bottom one a little closer to him than the top one, so therefore it wouldn't be Mavirin ala mitzvos. We'll talk about that more in Ian Dali on Beis Mitzvah, why it's not a problem. Beis Mitzvah lifso b'Shabbos prusa gdola shetaspik l'chol suda. When you cut challah on Shabbos, I see this. People don't do this. People are very stingy with their challah. You're supposed to cut a nice piece for every person. That one piece should last them for the entire meal. This is ayin yafeh, to do something. A generous person does it. I was cutting challah the other week, and my brother-in-law asked me, I was cutting nice big pieces. He's like, wow, this is a big piece. I says, yeah, I have an ayin tova. I have a positive, I'm a generous person. You know, people are stingy. They cut the challah to half. It always bothers me when people cut the challah. They cut it into halves, the thirds for a piece. It's not generous. You feel so much different when you get a whole piece of challah, especially if it's a big piece of challah. It really makes a difference. It's like, you know, when you have a donut in 2 halves, people, even if it's a little bigger, people want the bigger half of the donut. Especially a challah on Shabbos, you want a nice big piece. Be generous. Buy an extra challah if you have to. Gimel, again, you can't, just like by Kiddush, in order to be yotze with his bracha, right? He has the person who's making the bracha. He has the loaves in front of him, so he has to taste be yotze his bracha before you can taste. Otherwise, you're not yotze through shemei hakonev. Every person has lechem mishnah in front of him. Sometimes you have this at an affair or something like that, about mitzvah. You could eat before he does because you're yotze with his bracha, and you're yotze with your lechem mishnah in front of you, so you could eat from your lechem mishnah. It's not clear to me it has to be lechem mishnah. I would think even if one roll, lechem mishnah is a nice thing we do to commemorate the man, but I think even one roll should be okay. Dalet suda zu b'shel shachar ziyav shar la'asosam below pas. You're supposed to have bread for the Friday night meal and the Shabbos morning meal. We're going to see a shalosh shudis. It's not an absolute chiyuv to have bread. Some people don't need to have bread. You're supposed to have something that fills you up, in mizonos or some type of rugalach or something like that for shalosh shudis. But there's no absolute chiyuv to have bread. Now we mentioned before, if you only have money for kiddush on Friday night and money for a suda, use it for the kiddush, because kiddush is del raisa, and according to most opinions, the chiyuv of suda Shabbos is really mitzvah oneg, at least the bread of Suda Shabbos is only a chiyuv in karasa Shabbos oneg, which is derived from Kabbalah, which may be stronger than the Rabbanan, but it's not the level of a doraisa of Zachar Shabbos Akacho. Certainly not Aseres Hadibros, which Zachar Shabbos Akacho is Aseres Hadibros. So therefore, if you only have enough for wine, you buy the wine. But if you have enough for wine, you have to make sure that to have bread for your meal. Bread comes before the rest of the meal. Bread is more important because you can fill up on bread. You can satiate from bread. You can have an oneg from bread itself. Maybe get some dips also. Some eggplant here if you live in Israel. Fried eggplant is really good. Hope you enjoyed today's share. Stay tuned for Ian to lean on, where I talk about this Taz, the question of the Taz, and my answer to avoid his problem. Ian to lean on coming up next.